The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I want to tell you an incredible story. Incredible story. A number of years ago, the Israeli government airlifted thousands and thousands of Jews from Ethiopia in an incredible, daring rescue, and it was called Operation Solomon. Now, one day you can imagine these Jews were in Ethiopia, they were starving, they were living under terrible conditions. And the next day, they were welcomed into Eretz Yisrael, free at last. You can imagine how much planning and political manipulation was involved in carrying out this incredible rescue. It didn't just happen. It involved thousands and thousands of hours of preparation. Now, the behind-the-scenes maneuvering included requiring the United States State Department, the Israeli government, obviously, and the CIA. And apparently, before these Jews could actually be released, it was necessary for the United States, who was the brokerer in this rescue, to provide two things: $35 million and an apology by the President of the United States. Now, the money seemed to be in a very easy issue to resolve. It was a minor issue. An apology, however, was not so simple. It wasn't considered to be diplomatically correct for the President of the United States to apologize to an Ethiopian dictator. No such thing. So what happened was the President decided to convene a meeting involving his 13 most closest and top advisors. And they would vote to determine the future of thousands of Jews in Ethiopia. Should they live or should they die? The votes were cast. 6 were for, 6 were against. But one vote remained to be cast, that of a prominent African American, a distinguished member of the intelligence community. Everybody looked at him because his vote was basically the tie-breaking vote. He stood up and he addressed the Olam. And he said, "Gentlemen, I'm about to cast my vote. But before I do so, I'd like to relate to you a story that occurred about 35 years ago, which is critical. And then you understand my vote based on that." He said it was a hot summer night in the Harlem section of New York. A large fire broke out in the house. The fire raged as neighbors gathered to try and save anyone from the building. The firefighters arrived to try and do whatever they could do to try and put out the fire, but it was kind of too late. It had already consumed most of the building. And everybody had thought, well, we've pretty much saved everyone in the building anyway, until they saw the faces of 3 young children. 3 young children poking out, screaming, "Help me, save us." Can you imagine everybody standing there? There's nothing they could do. Nobody would go and nobody could go in that burning building. There was nothing they could do. All of a sudden, as if from nowhere, a young man appeared, ignoring everybody's pleas and warnings. He ran into that building. A few minutes later, he comes out in his arms of these 3 young children, unharmed. At that exact moment, the father of these children reappeared. He was out for the night. He had come back. He looked in horror at his house. And then he looked to see his children being brought out of the building. And you can imagine when this gentleman came out, holding the 3 children, everybody ran over to him. The media was there. It was an unbelievable thing. And everyone was like, "You're a hero. Look what you've done. You've saved 3 children. It's unbelievable." And all he said was, "Nah, I just did a mitzvah. I did a mitzvah. Everybody's looking, what's a mitzvah? What is this guy talking about? I never heard such a thing before. I did a mitzvah. And he walked off. He said, "I too also didn't understand what is a mitzvah until now." You see, I was one of those 3 children. And the young man that rescued me and my siblings was an Ethiopian Jew. I know that a mitzvah is a good deed, and I want to repay my rescuers' people. I want to perform also a mitzvah, and I vote that Operation Solomon be put into action, saving thousands and thousands of Jews. Every one of our actions is incredible. We don't appreciate them. We don't realize what we can accomplish. Every single one of us can accomplish worlds. If only we would just get up and do. Every mitzvah, every tefillah, every little act of chesed, whatever we can do. That's in this week's parasha shows us the tremendous chesed. We should all be zoicha be'ezah Hashem to perform tremendous mitzvahs, to do chesed, that be'ezah Hashem even if we don't see in our own lifetime, but it will stay in our families and it will help all future generations.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org